Welcome to the Mommy Mundo podcast. I'm Janice, the founder of Mommy Mundo. And for those of you who may not be aware, Mommy Mundo is the most active multi platform resource and community for moms in the Philippines. I founded Mommy Mundo more than 20 years ago with the purpose of providing information and support to newbie moms like me back then and spent the past 2 decades following my passion and purpose. So, this podcast is actually a dream come true, another way to reach fellow moms, and another way to share information and lots of stories about parenting, and another way to help us inspire and empower each other. I'd like to say that we at Mommy Mundo probably is any mommy's number one fan, number one cheerleader, and hopefully a motivator as well. Thus, the title of this podcast, You the Mom. We cheer you on, Mama. Okay, so this podcast is, of course, all about you and for you, mamas. This whole month, we will focus on the theme origins. My guests will be people who either started with me on the parenting advocacy work, people who pioneered interesting stuff for moms, or people who were there at the very beginning of Mommy Mundo. I will have four themes every week. The first is Know It All Mom, where we learn information on pregnancy, breastfeeding, baby care, and parenting. Then we'll talk about mompreneur stories, where I'll guest successful mompreneurs. And we will have the Mom Wellness segment, where we have my Fab Four Mamas, Leia Erigel, Kit Malvarllamas, and Kate Moynihan Gonzalez. And today's episode, which is Mom Stories, where we'll share
Mhm.
real and authentic stories about motherhood. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be guesting people who were there at the very beginning of Mommy Mundo. And today is a very special episode for me, most especially because the person who will be guesting here with me is someone who was there even before Mommy Mundo became a figment of my imagination. In fact, I would tell this person that if not for him, Mommy Mundo would not have been in existence. So let's all welcome my firstborn son, the person who made me a mom, Coby Villanueva.
Yeah, good to be here, Janice. Thanks for having me.
It's mom, not Janice.
No, we're in Canada now. It's normal, right?
No, it's not. So, Kobe, thank you for saying yes to my invitation and being here. And thanks for the trust. How do
Yeah,
you feel about guesting in my podcast? And how do you feel about mom finally having a podcast?
I'm I'm very flattered that you invited me to your podcast. That means you trust in my ability to speak. You trust in that means you see something in me that I have the capacity to say something maybe inspirational that'll help other people. Of course, I'm very proud. Very proud that you're starting your podcast and finding new ways to help other moms.
Oh, thanks, Kobe. Of course, I always believe in you. You know that. So
Yeah, I know.
like, diba, I'm your number one fan,
Yeah,
Nox.
I started your company, so
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So let's talk about that. Like, remember, I would always joke. The nice way I say it is, if not for Kobe, there would be no Mommy Mundo. And then
Mm,
the funnier way I say it is, if you were not a difficult baby, there would be no Mommy Mundo. So I want to give them a backgrounder. So Kobe, when I had you, I was 24. And how old are you right now? Oh, he forgot.
20, 23.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kobe's 23. And I really cannot imagine having given birth at almost your age. I was really young. I mean, even if back then it was kind of the trend to get married after school almost, like a few years after school. But now when
yeah,
I see you, I was really young and I had a lot of insecurities as a person. I'm still learning about myself. And you were a honeymoon baby. So we were just married, we're adjusting to married life, and I had you, and you were not an easy baby. You had colic, like you would cry all night, you wouldn't want to sleep, and then in breastfeeding, you didn't want to breastfeed. you didn't want to drink my milk from the bottle. You had to drink milk from me directly. And then you had sepanks, like sepanks forever. Like, I would bring you to school and you'd okay, this is the story there. You've heard this many times, right? So we would bring you to school on the first day and you would go in the classroom without any problem. While all the other kids were hanging onto their mom's legs, you would go and bye mom on the first day. And then on the second day till the end of the year, you would be crying.
Yeah,
So
I remember.
remember, we would joke that the principal of your school was your friend because she would come out and try to get you from us to make you
Yeah.
comfortable. So, just to give you a picture, that was the kind of baby where you were super clingy. I guess you loved us too much. But
A little
anyway,
bit.
so from there, that's why I started the breastfeeding advocacy and everything that followed. So, I guess I'm just saying this story to ask you the question about, do you have any memories about those early years? Like you were young and you were like maybe toddler or grade school age, about having,
Memories.
yeah,
Memories that what?
memories as a child, as a baby with us. Like what kind of, like in your memory, what kind of mom was I? Like when I would, because I'd bring you to work every day because you didn't want to breastfeed and all that, and we were always together. And how did you, do you have any memories of those times?
Actually, I have. I don't know why. Like I have this one memory ingrained in my mind. I agree that I was a really clingy baby or a kid. I remember we were in our old house, and then you were at work or something. There's a picture of you like there's a picture of you on like the bookshelves, and then
Yeah.
and then you weren't home, and I miss you so much. I grabbed the picture and then I was hugging it. I was like, I was crying all alone there with the bookshelf, and then there was no one else around me. I remember that. I was like, wow, even though you're gone for work. So I was a really clingy baby. Memories of you as a mom. I feel like you were there when I needed you. I mean, yeah, I was a clingy baby, but then you would always end up being there anyway. So it wasn't like it wasn't as if you were, shunning me away or anything. So,
So I'd say like a secure childhood like that.
mm, yeah.
But I remember you told me that story about you holding onto my picture. But you did feel some abandonment, right? Parang you felt that um at that time, like you were worried I wasn't gonna come home. Diba?
Yeah.
That's what you shared with me. So parang that struck me actually because even if I was practically there almost 24/7 because I was a mompreneur back then and I had control over my time, but you still
Mm-hmm.
felt that I might never come home. So maybe it would have been good if I verbalized it more. I don't know. I guess we all have like our little hang-ups now as children. But otherwise, you're a secure kid naman. So you turned out okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm. I hope I turn out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it turned out okay, right?
Yeah, I think so. I remember that the challenges of raising you and Zach along with your dad was there. Like, of course, we were just starting our businesses back then, and we were also trying to learn different ways of parenting and all. But we also played a lot with you, right? And had fun. Like,
Mm. Yeah.
do you remember when, like, you were, I guess, in some the early years, you were like being groomed to be a basketball player and stuff like that. Like, what activities
Yeah.
did we put you in that helped you or made you feel like confident in yourself? I guess, moms, the reason I'm asking Kobe all these things, besides delving into the minds of our kids, which we don't really have the chance to sometimes, it's really to give us an insight on how we play a role in the formative years of our kids. Like, especially now that I've gone through 23 years of being a mom to Cobes. No? And honestly, before this recording, I told him to be honest and I want to have a real conversation with him, which is why this segment is about having real conversations, right? So so you can be honest, Cobes. So like what activities did we put you into? Like, di ba, moms nowadays, like, we put in kids in every single thing we could just to expose them. But what are your favorite
Yeah.
activities that you think that helped you as a kid, and then now that you've taken it with you as an adult?
So yeah, the stuff that you guys put me in, definitely sports. I don't know who I would be right now without, um, if I was not an athlete. I owe a lot to of who I am today uh, because I was an athlete growing up.
Oh,
But
can you share
definitely,
what sports you got into? Because some people might not know
oh yeah,
eventually what you
okay.
got into.
So as a kid, my dad obviously put me into basketball around really really early. Like ever since I was a baby, he would give me just basketballs and I would just start dribbling them. And then
Oh,
up
Kobe.
until I was
So
like,
obviously, because your name is Kobe, right? So they might, that's why
yeah,
it's obviously. Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So that put me in basketball. Up until I was around grade school, I was playing basketball. I joined like I don't know, maybe like around 15 basketball camps. I was in Milo Best, I was in Coach E, I was in all that stuff. But so he put me there. You guys put me there,
Yeah.
and then I ended up enjoying it anyway. So, um, if you guys didn't even try, if you guys didn't even try putting me into these sports, like you wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known if I would have enjoyed it or not. So at least, I mean, yeah. For example, like if you said, like you said, right? There's so many things that parents want to put their kids in. I feel like you just put them in there. If you see or you sense they don't enjoy it, then don't let them continue because, like what I was saying, my dad. So he put me in all these basketball camps. Maybe around the third or fourth time, like yeah. So the first maybe two times he would just put me there without me really like saying anything. But then around the third or fourth time, I'd be like, "Hey, Dad, when's the next one? Or when's the next one? When's the next
Mm.
time we're gonna play basketball? I want to play basketball." Blah 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 blah. So obviously, it opened up my love for sports, and that was because that you guys gave me that little push, right? And that led to me being a fencer. Yeah, it led me to yeah, it led me to explore other sports. So it led me to fencing. At first, it was like a for fun thing, and one thing led to another. I started fencing for the Ateneo fencing team, high school until college, and that all started from basketball. And that you guys put me in basketball
Mhm. Yeah.
related stuff when I was young. So yeah, set me up for who I
Yeah.
am now, and I won't trade it for anything. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, that's good. Well, yeah, I'm happy that you were able to enjoy that nga as a kid and eventually really got into it. I've always seen you, remember we'd always talk as well about um how you kind of have a focus strength. Like when you get into something even when you were young, even until today I see that like you will totally focus on it and be manically obsessed about it, and really put in all you can towards getting better. Like if there's something that you are not interested in, you won't even give it a second thought, like no, ayaw mo. But if you like it, like total focus. Okay, so with the sports, super happy about that, right? And it eventually got you into Ateneo. You were competing in international tournaments and stuff like that, and built your resilience and determination and everything, right? Now, with regards to your new passion, which is gaming, that's another thing. And that's what we always would fight about, remember? Like even when you were a young teen playing your games and even your gadgets, but yung mga Nintendo, I don't even remember na. But
Game
when you
Boy.
started getting into your PC games,
Yeah.
we would have fights about the time you've spent on computer. And then of course I also have say the usual mom stuff like, nako Kobe, kung hindi ka nag-gaming, siguro ano ka na, pianist. Remember?
Yeah.
Siguro you'll be like master in an instrument already or whatever. And we would always fight. I would think our biggest fights would be about your gaming, right? And now, it's been part of your life for so long, and it's something that you really want to pursue, right? So I remember when you asked me out to dinner, like just a few years ago. Like you texted me, Mom, can I have dinner? Can I take you out to dinner? That's I was like, oh, how sweet, like that. And then I was like, oh my God, he's gonna tell me something. I'm so nervous. What? And then yung pala, you wanted to tell me that. Oh, what did? Can you share what you were gonna tell me? Remember at the time, you
Which
took me
dinner
out to
was this?
dinner.
We had so many dinners.
The one when you wanted to tell me that you're going to pursue your
Didn't I tell you
channel.
that in Japan?
No, you told me in Japan that you were thinking about it. And then 2 years ago, you texted me and said we wanted to take me out to dinner. And then we went to La Creperie, diba, in White Plains.
Okay, that no, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that. Um, I told you that I wanted to start my stream already.
Mm.
I remember telling you, because that was around the time that you were gonna leave na for Canada. I mean, we were kind of like thinking about it. So I said like, I want to pursue this first. In the meantime, my streaming stuff. I just wanted, yeah, I told you like this was a dream that I wanted to chase. I feel like I just have to give it a shot because I remember our first conversation about it, which is in Japan. I told you I had thoughts about it. So there was like no Kobe's yet, no like stream, no anything. And I said, what do you think how about I start a stream, blah, 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 stuff like that. But every time I think about it, it's like, there's so much that I have to do. I have to set up the stream. Like, what if I'm not even good enough? Blah, 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 blah. And then you told me I had like analysis paralysis, which was like, I was overthinking too much of it. I
Yeah.
was overthinking everything too much that I'll just keep thinking about it, and I'll never get to execute. Right? It's all like ideas, no execution, type thing. So you told me to just do it, and then the rest will come. So that's what I did. And that dinner, that's what I told you that I was gonna start doing it. So
Yeah. So how did you feel when you got support on that one, on your dream? Because it's not easy to support someone's dream to be a gamer. It's only because it's not something our generation would be open to, right? So when I think it took a lot of, well, Dad and I discussed it, and then knowing that I educated ourselves also about the profession and the industry and the trends also in globally with gaming. So how did you feel when you got the support?
of course I was elated, right? I was also relieved.
Mm,
Uh, I feel like baka even if you said no, I would have still done it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But
it's
like,
okay.
um, I mean, I kind of had a feeling you were gonna say yes anyway. But yeah, I was elated. Like I was really happy. It's different when you do something and you have your parents' support. You feel like there's nothing else holding you back other than yourself. Maybe even some haters, what other people will say, the internet, stuff like that. But if you have your parents behind your back, that's like that's huge. That's huge for whatever you're gonna pursue. Especially because you look up to your parents. So obviously, I look up to mom, look up to dad, and if like they see that your dream is possible because they allow you to do it. I think that's like the best. I mean, just allowing, or just allowing your son, like just even just allowing me to do it. That was already really really big for me, and it helps even more that you were supportive. So yeah.
Okay, that's good. Um, did you ever feel at one point like growing up that you didn't get the support you needed from us? Like, Kasi, honestly, 'di ba, it's hard to be the firstborn sometimes kasi you're like, we practice on you, right? So we practice our parenting and the rules and the way we discipline, the way we guide you. When it's our firstborn, you're usually like the guinea pig on the experimentation on all these principles that we want to be.
Yeah.
And we're also trying to learn the right way to parent while also giving you freedom. So in a way. So did you feel at one point that at any point in time that we didn't support you, or maybe didn't agree with how we parented you?
Oh, yeah. So the gaming thing, like what you said, we were fighting about it for, I don't know, like maybe 2 or 3 years. You're fighting over games. I remember I would be on that computer, and then you'd fight me to get off of it, and then whenever I was on the computer, you'd get mad at me and stuff like that, and you started setting limits for it, and then I would like rebel and stuff like that, so we would fight over it. That was the only time, I guess, I didn't feel your support in doing something. Well, during that time, of course, I wasn't thinking about being a pro gamer because it didn't exist, but I felt like it was just something I really, really, really enjoyed doing, that I genuinely enjoyed doing. But looking back, it was probably, I understand now why, it wasn't very healthy, probably wasn't very healthy, and there was no career opportunities for it. So I understand, like, I totally understand where you're coming from
Oh,
now. Is especially since I'm here, but I'm like older and wiser now, right? But yeah, like, I guess other than that, if it was about pursuing stuff in general, you guys always supported me. Like if I
I
just
remember what actually shifted me, not fully but a lot back then to the gaming thing was you told me that because di ba you'd be in school all day and then you come home, just kiss us and then go straight to your computer and then you sleep late. So parang we were getting concerned about your health and your eyes and all that. But what really shifted me, I remember, was when you said, "Mom, I'm in school the whole day in class. Then I have varsity training. My only time for myself is when I play games." When you told me
oh,
that, I said, "That's true." And you were okay in school. You weren't failing, or you were doing okay in school, and you were doing okay in varsity. So I was like, "That's true." And that's when I stepped back a bit. So if you told me that in grade school, I would have done. Just kidding. But really, that really opened my eyes because bute if you were failing in school, or bute if you're like not going to varsity, but you were doing well in all the other obligatory parts of your life, and really you were unwinding during the gaming thing, and you were like zoning in on something else and something you're happy with. So that kind of opened
exactly.
my eyes, right? So good thing you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. So I want to ask you about how you felt growing up that mom and dad were always around because we were business people. We were entrepreneurs. And we were working from home most of the time, or we would bring you to our events, remember? And we would even include you in brainstorming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that kind of life? I know
Mm.
that some of your classmates maybe had parents who were in corporate or maybe other types of jobs like doctors or something, but you really grew up in that atmosphere wherein we run our own companies, and you would go to the office and hang out there and see us at work leading our business and our employees. What are your memories of that as me being a mompreneur?
No, yeah, I loved it. I loved it. Even though you wouldn't directly tell me what was going on with your business and everything, I felt like I was included, and I feel like that made us closer. It helped our relationship even better. Just having like knowing all your coworkers and stuff like that, seeing your office, seeing how your business is run, seeing your events, being included in all that stuff as a kid made me feel more included in your life in general. Because I feel like other parents who are corporate, they do their 9 to 5 and then they come home. They don't really talk to their kids about work, right? Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids have no idea what's going on, right? It's not like they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna. tell them about whatever happened. So even though I was a kid, even though you wouldn't directly tell me what happened at work, I felt like I knew it was happening, or I felt like, oh, my
Mm.
parents are doing something cool. I felt like you were telling me how, okay, this is how work is, just even just by having it at home, or like just seeing it as a kid, seeing how everything is as a kid. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, that's nice.
Mm.
I remember I would ask you about. You would even say, like, when you were really young, you'd say, "Mom, when I grow up, I'm gonna be like the president of the company." And then Zach would be, ano ba yun? No, you would be CEO, Zach would be president, then
I
Reese would
remember that.
be marketing or something.
I
And then
remember
you
that.
also made a comment because the CEO doesn't do anything, it's the president. So you'll be like the figurehead, and then Zach will be the one doing all the work.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was fun. So
Exactly.
yeah, that was fun days. Like when we would do events that are not mom, because guys, we also owned an events company called Creative Juice back then. Besides Mommy Mundo, and we would do events like for brands like Havaianas and Aloha Skate, and consumer brands and all. And the kids were always involved. Well, as much as we could. Like even when we would do concepts for children, we would have a brainstorming session in the dining table, right? So that was
Yeah.
fun days. It's nice to know that you felt included. And did it influence you in any way with regards to what you wanted to pursue, like even in university and college, and then your dreams after?
Oh yeah, definitely. I just had a thought actually that like um because you guys made work look so fun, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
growing up, I feel like this is how a job should be. Jobs are supposed to be the job you're supposed to have, you're supposed to love it, right? You're not supposed to get a 9 to 5 job and then settle. You know what I mean? You guys
Mm-hmm.
obviously love your jobs right now. So I feel like that's something that I want to work towards, especially when I get older, right? I want to find the same thing that you guys have now, which is such like a job that you guys genuinely love. So yeah,
Yeah.
that super influenced me as a kid. I was like, yeah, this is how work should be. And then another thing was, I feel like because you guys were brainstorming a lot, and then I was there included, and you guys would ask me for stuff also. I remember you asked me for like a name to name like some event, and then I said
Yeah.
Pocketful, some toy
Oh
event.
yes.
You asked me, Kobe, give me a name for like a toy event randomly. You said that.
Yeah.
I was like, and I gave you random ones, and I was like, how about Pocketful? And then someone, and then you were like, oh, and then you guys actually used that for an event, right?
We did. We did.
And then, not
Yeah.
gonna lie, I kind of felt betrayed because I didn't get any cut. Like, I wanted some. That was my
We
idea.
deposited it in your savings account, okay?
I didn't get anything, but like, I'm just kidding. But like,
We did use
so
that
because of
name.
that, I feel like I gave out an idea. You guys liked it. I feel like that's something that stuck with me until now. Like I feel like thinking of ideas and then having them executed, and then if it like helps another person, it makes me feel good. Yeah, when I gave you guys that idea and I heard that it came to life as a kid,
Yeah.
it amazed me. So until now, I kind of feel the same way. I want to do something that needs thinking, creativity, something that's art in a way. And gaming is for me is kind of like an art.
Yeah.
So
And actually, maybe it influenced you also. Like when you approached me about the gaming channel, the stream, it's called Cobeast, right? So follow him on Cobeast on Twitch if you're on Twitch or Facebook and IG.
Twitch,
So
yeah,
you actually told me that you had the branding plan for it, you had the logo, and then you had
yeah,
ideas for contests and all that. That really made it more real for me. Like it wasn't like just a whim. Like I felt that you really thought about what you were gonna pursue. So that made a big difference also in us letting you do it because
yeah.
we felt that it was serious stuff, right? There. So well, I want to share this also with moms and dads who have kids who want to do gaming. I mean, of course, it's different for every family, but one thing that also helped us decide to let Kobe do it is because um, when we were discerning, I actually talked to someone from Google. Uh, I won't name her anymore because I'm not sure if it was okay. It would be okay with her, but you know who you are. So I talked to her about Kobe wanting to pursue gaming, and she just said, Kobe is an early mover. So gaming is of course it's booming right now, but in the Philippines especially, it's like still so much happening and a lot of potential still. So you're an early mover, and this is the right time to get into it. And then what struck me the most was she said, Janice, do you remember when you set up your first mom website? So Mommy Mundo started off with a website called Mommy Pages. I was the second website in the Philippines on parenting. The other website was a forum called Mom Exchange. And we were just we I was the second one. And she said, "Do you remember when you set that up?" And then I said, "Yeah." And then she said, "What were people saying?" And everyone was also saying, "Ano yan?" Di ba parang, what's gonna happen there? May kikita ka ba dyan? Whatever, whatever. And I just did it because I wanted to, because of the passion. And I felt that it was my way to reach people and all. And when she said that your son is following the footsteps, whether not intentionally, but you're in the same path. So, it could be, who knows what will happen to your channel and all that you're doing now, but it's a
Yeah.
dream. And if you put your heart to it, I guess what counts is the experience of getting there. And if you make it, then good, di ba? I mean,
Mm.
ultimately, um, you follow your passion and your purpose, right? So,
Yeah, at least
and
you
then
tried. That's what matters.
that's right. I want to also remind you, we also talked about this, that your work is not always fun, right? Work is not always gonna be fun.
Yeah.
That's why I also intentionally started sharing with you my problems and challenges at work. Because
Mm.
sometimes you see the fun side, but you don't, of course, we won't tell you naman, oh my God, Kobe, ang dami kong problema, ganyan, ganyan. So you only see like the fun stuff, like the event is complete and there's so many people and you don't know what went through before that, or all the
Yeah.
challenges. So this was a lesson found out, we realized with some parenting advocate friends of mine, that we also have to share the real stories behind the challenges of mom life, because we kind of make it look easy and fun when really there are also a lot of challenges, so that you also know that life is also, it takes a lot of effort and hard work, right?
Yeah, I have to agree. Even though gaming looks like you're just playing games,
Yeah,
it's not always fun. It's also
yeah,
not always fun, especially if you're doing it every day. It's like
yeah,
mastering a craft. So I think any work is like that. But what matters is if
yeah.
you love it, right? If you love the process, that's what
That's right.
matters.
I'm so proud, Nox. Okay, Kobe. Well, it is hard work. I see you putting in all the hours, and you're talking to your mentor and getting coached and all that, and trying to talk to the right people. And yeah, I commend you for all of that as well. So let's go back to our relationship as mom and son. So what do you think, what kind of mom do you think was or am? Like, I think it's an interesting conversation because the way I parent might not be the way you see me, right? So there are different kinds of parenting, like
Mm.
authoritarian, authoritative. Authoritarian is like dictator rule. Okay. Authoritative is like consulting, like that. Like, I'm the leader, I'm the superior, or not superior. Parang I'm the one you should be followed, but then we can talk about it, like that. Parang open. And then there is permissive, wherein I just let you be, things like that. And there's many other parenting styles. There's helicopter parenting, wherein I'm like hovering around every move you make, like that. So what is your opinion of
Using
how
the using the
you,
models you gave me, right?
you can also make
The
your own? I mean, you
stereotypes.
can make your own type. If
Um, Helicopter parrot, definitely not. I would say you're a mix of like maybe you tried to be authoritarian but you failed. And then you ended up you were I think I've only felt your authoritarianness with a few things with the gaming thing talaga, that's when I felt the most authoritarian. Like I remember you wouldn't allow me to play games on, like, the old rule was you wouldn't allow me or Zach to play video games on the weekdays. So
Yeah.
5 days a week I was not allowed to play, and then I'd only be able to play on the weekends. Pero paonte-onte, I started playing every day na, and you just let it be. So I think you grew. So maybe we're in phases, like authoritarian first.
Yeah.
So I think you're a mix between authoritative and
Permissive.
permissive. So I mean, yeah, I feel like I have to consult with you before I do stuff. But lately, of course, I'm like I'm being more independent now. So you're a bit more
Because you're
permissive now.
23, Combs.
Yeah. So ayun, you're parang phases siya. You weren't
Yeah.
just one all throughout, which is I think is good because
Mm.
that only means you were shifting to my needs, right? Which is what
Yeah.
every kid needs, diba?
Yeah, I guess I tried to do that too. It's hard. Like I wanna be authoritative because it's to protect you, especially when you were younger, of course. 'Di ba? Like from the girls. Just kidding. No, I mean, not from the girls, from safety, from security. um, but of course, knowing also how I was raised, and times now, like you have to let go. I think at a certain age, of course, like it didn't come fast. But when I saw that I could trust you, and then I also, of course, and then you're a boy, so of course I didn't want to let you grow up to be mama's boy naman. So we really had to let go little by little, and knowing naman you had a good head on your shoulders, and that wasn't very hard to do. And when you reach 21, I was like, okay, he's a grown up, I'm gonna let go. So but it's nice to still have you around. Like people ask us, do you have to drag them with you when you go out? No. So some are actually surprised that you actually want to spend time with me and dad. So that's nice. Like we really cherish that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't force you naman, di ba, to be with us.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I know. But the other things kasi are like obligatory in quotes, like mass and all. So those things you have to come,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So did you ever think that I was too much as a mom? So the reason why I ask this is because there are things that I really is really important to me. Like for example, traditions. Like for example, like when we set up our Christmas tree, I really wanted everyone there because that's a memory that the family should have. Or for example, mass nga, or going to or having dinner together and things like that. And sometimes I try to also be sensitive to reasons why you can't be there. But there are things that I stick to, like you have to be there you have to be there for this dinner, or it's kind of like teaching you also the proper etiquette and all that. But did you ever think that mom is over like that?
Um, I want to say I think too much is better than too little, because
Mm-hmm.
if you're too chill, I feel like I wouldn't have learned anything. Maybe I would say maybe like 70% of the stuff you're too much with, I ended up learning a lot from. So for example, parang I said I would help Reese with homework, but then I ended up not helping her with homework. And that was the night before that drive to work. So I mean, Reese ended up doing the homework anyway. Everything was chill, but I guess I felt like you were too much there, because in the morning all the way to work, you're like, Kobe, you didn't help Reese, blah 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 blah. And then I was like, but she ended up doing okay naman, blah blah blah. She was like, yeah. And then you told me something that really stuck with me, which was like, if you don't admit that you didn't do something, people are gonna think you're not accountable as a person. So they're gonna depend on you less, right? If they depend on you to do something and you don't do it, they're gonna think, I can't trust them with this kind of stuff, right? If they can trust you with and then I was like, and that stuck to me until now. with work, with gaming, everything, like accountability. Right, mom was right. So
Yeah.
even though you were too much with a lot of stuff, maybe 50% of them were actually too much. Maybe like 60 or 70% of them is too much. But if it was worth learning all the lessons that I got now. It was going through the 50% that was like actually dumb stuff. The 50% that I learned, I kept with me until now, and yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it.
Ah, that's
So
good. I think it helps that we talk a lot, right? Because you're the type of kid who likes to talk about things and reflect and learn. So that helps. You know, it's like you're very mindful. Like I want you to share with the listeners like your self-care practice. Like you have this ritual that you go through, and I'm really proud of it because even me, I want to stick to my own that practice that you do, and I also learn from you there. But being a young adult, like share with us your practice and then why are you doing it?
actually, what led me to doing this stuff was I would like so there's something called like a yo-yo effect, which is like you get stuck in a rut. Yeah, like a demotivated rut. It's like, oh, I feel like I don't want to do anything, blah blah blah. And I was in like a rut when we first got here in Canada because I feel like obviously we were going through like a phase, right? We were shifting from Philippines to Canada, stuff like that. So I feel like I didn't feel like doing anything. And then one day I was like, ayoko na. I can't like I can't keep living like this. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
and
wake
it's
up and
COVID pa, pandemic pa kasi, di ba?
yeah. So
Yeah.
I knew I had to change something.
Mm.
So I started with meditation. I would meditate from time to time before in college or in college, especially before my my games and fencing. So it wasn't a habit for me back then. It was just something like when I needed to do it, I would do it. But then it was inconsistent. I feel like some days it would help, some days it wouldn't. I felt like recently I actually made it a habit, and that was because I said I would meditate for 30 days. 30 days. I told
Yeah.
myself I know I didn't. I'm not sure if I said a day actually or anything. I'm
I think
sorry, but
21 days, di ba? You're 21 days.
I
You have
joined a
that
21
notebook.
days.
Yeah.
I joined a 21 days like meditation challenge, but that wasn't really it. I think it was mostly like when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I'm gonna do is meditate. And Headspace had like it had like
Mm.
a streak. So whenever you would meditate, it would show a streak there and then show all your stats, stuff like that. I wanted to make it a habit, so I wanted to at least make it a month long. So I just did it like every morning. I woke up and then I meditated, and then I noticed a big difference on whether or not I would meditate and when I wouldn't. And I would notice a shift. I would notice a difference in my performance when I play. I would notice my mood was throughout the day, how people were reacting to me, how people's vibes were around me. It's different when I wouldn't would when I would meditate and I wouldn't. I feel like I made better decisions. The payoff was really big, making this into a habit. It was just like an idea to me, and not really. Before it was just like, oh, meditation does this, but now it's more like a journey to me and like a lifestyle meditation.
Yeah. And I noticed you also started like every night when I look in your room, like all the lights are closed except for your desk lamp and you're writing stuff. So you're journaling. What do you do with your journal?
Oh yeah, so my habits now. I mean, so when I built the habit of meditation, it it showed me that I actually had the capacity to build new habits into my life because it's not easy, right? Like if you want to add a new habit into your life, it's definitely not easy because there are days when you don't want to do it, and to make something a habit, you have to do it even though you don't feel like doing it. And that was what. So, and for meditation, that was it for me. Like I feel like even though I felt like I didn't need to, when I felt really restless, like anxious and all that stuff, those were the hardest times to meditate. And also when you're really excited and happy, also that was really hard. Also because syempre you're so excited and happy. Because, why do we even need to meditate? I feel so
Yeah,
good,
you
right?
feel you
I could
don't
just
need it. Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, no, I have like that's also an important time I need to meditate. Like, be conscious,
Mm.
be give yourself the space that you need to, you know, uh, to collect yourself and be mindful. So yeah, so after I built the meditation habit, I built the confidence in myself that, oh, I can build other habits. So the next habit that I wanted to build was reading, and I noticed that reading helped me a lot before I would sleep. So it would calm me down, and when you're like about to sleep, your mind tends to run wild or something. When I read, it feels like,
Yeah.
I'm focusing on something. My mind is active. So when I go to bed, it's more calm since I use the energy of my restless mind on a book. So yeah, now like before I sleep, I so that was the second habit I built. So now I read. I finished the book recently, and now I'm starting on a second book. Before I read, I journal, and this is one of my favorite things to do now. So it's you go to YouTube, you see all these journal stuff like you think journaling is like, okay, list these things, list that, list blah 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 blah
Mm.
blah. But for me, it's free flowing. Whatever I feel like writing, I write down because I learned that writing stuff down, that's a way of self expression. And if you're not able to express yourself, then you just get sad, or if you feel like you're not expressing yourself a lot, maybe you lose confidence. You have all these things that you don't get to release, and
Yeah.
journaling is a release. So if you write all the stuff down before you go to bed, feels like you let it go. So for me, journaling is free flowing, like what I said. When I sit down, so I read and then read. So I read and then I journal. Like mostly, what I do is I write highlights throughout the day, stuff that affected me
Mm.
negatively, positively, whatever it may be, stuff that made me smile. And then I always make sure to write 5 things that I'm grateful for. Whatever
Mm.
it is. It's mostly food. Not gonna lie.
Oh, you mean my
Always.
cooking? My cooking?
Sometimes, but it's mostly food. What's the anything? It's like I write down anything that I feel grateful for in the moment.
Mm.
And then before I sleep, I mostly have Valorant practice or gaming practice from 8 to 11, and then I sleep at like 12 or 1. So after practice, I have all these thoughts about like what I could have done during the game better. So I write them all down, and stuff that I want to improve on tomorrow, I write it all down. There were a couple of times that I wanted to go back to stuff, and so recently I reached a goal, right?
Yeah, your ranking.
I reached my rank, and then
Mm.
when you reach something, it's like when you get there, the feeling of getting there, it feels like it's normal. I mean, you reach the goal, it's like yes, you got it, and then it's like back to normal, like it becomes normal again.
Yeah.
So it's like a cycle of you reach a goal,
And you
yeah,
wonder
you
what's
reached it,
next.
and then you on to the next one, and then
Mm.
there's like it becomes you tend to take it for granted where you are now. So it's always
Yeah.
good to look back on your old progress to be grateful for where you are now, right? So journaling helped that for me. Like I remember when I reached my goal, I noticed when I would play, I would like be a little less motivated. So what I did was I went back to my so I have 2 notebooks, the older notebook which I used to so I have a new notebook now, and then I went back to my old notebook, and then I would see there like my goal rank was like the rank that I was like like 20 ranks away. That was my goal rank that back then, and now I'm like here, and then it was like wow, like it brought back it brought back that moment
Yeah.
where I was like I
Yeah.
was writing this down like I I want to reach this rank, and I remember how motivated
It
I
was
was
like
to
a
reach that
dream.
rank. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it came back to me, the feelings. So I immediately felt grateful because I wrote it down, and you know
Yeah. That's nice.
that's pretty
So
cool,
now you're
right?
0.47%, diba?
Yeah,
0.47. Top
yeah,
0.47 in Valorant. So I'm proud of you.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a good insight. Like, diba, as they say, it's the journey, not the destination. So going into, like, you can celebrate the wins, but if you remember the journey that took you there, I mean, you'll be able to use whatever you went through to help you get to the next and the next, and also help you get through the tough times too, right?
Yeah.
So wow, that's so insightful, and
Thanks.
that's a good insight, Coops. And I like your practice. I think I do the
Thanks.
same, but not as consistently. So I think I need to also be
Yeah.
consistent.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
Show my
Okay.
notebook.
Show. He's showing his
See. Yeah.
notebook,
That's my notebook.
and it's full of writing. Not very nice penmanship though, but
Yeah, for sure.
um
It's the
like
book
for
I'm reading
doctors.
now. Atomic Habits,
Atomic
James Clear.
Habits by James Clear.
It,
Yes.
it's amazing. This book's amazing.
Okay, that's
Deep. I'm
good.
learning so much. But yeah,
You guys are so advanced. So like mommies, we are really parenting children who are way more advanced than us. So we also have to up our game and be open-minded. Really, because I mean, as Kit, our program director, says, before we can correct, we have to connect. And how can we connect? The best way to connect is to know what they're doing, to be interested in what they're doing, right? And to talk to them and communicate all the time. So I don't know that I guess that's what worked for us as well. So I want to ask you this question. So who do you think are you more like? Are you more like me, or are you more like dad?
more like.
Yes. Similar
It's good.
to who?
This is gonna be used
O sige,
against me.
looks muna, looks.
Looks. I think I look more like Dad. People say that, and then Jack looks more like you.
Okay. And then how about in personality?
I feel like I'm more like you, and then Zach was always more like Dad.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because let's explain. So what you explain your answer.
Uh,
I think dad
uh,
and Zach are like more like playful. Like they like, diba, they like games and they like shows. They like going out and hanging out and stuff
yeah,
like that.
they're more like chill, enjoying.
Yeah.
Uh,
While we're serious and retrospect and introspective.
yeah. So that's where I see the most. Like, his dad is always just enjoying his shows, enjoying basketball, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with
yeah.
just wanting to enjoy life. And
That's
Zach
right.
also is like that. You and me, we're more like goal oriented, wanting to
Yeah.
improve every day, mindfulness, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true. I agree. Yeah, so I think, but in a lot of ways, like, you also are like that. Like sometimes you sit with him and watch shows and all, and his games and sports. So I
yeah,
think you're a combination, but I think in terms of maybe the more regular stuff, like daily things or interests, like when we talk about, oh, Kobe, did you try this meditation app, or did you try this? They're just looking at us. Parang,
yeah,
yeah, we're the ones who connect in that aspect, no?
yeah.
There. Okay. So, as a last question, let's talk about our memories. Oh no, this is not my last question. My second to the last question. What is your best memory of us together? I'll also answer that, but what is
Okay.
yours in all your
I'll
23
say, I'll
years?
say two. When we were
Yeah.
in Singapore together, when we
Okay.
went to the Friends Cafe. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. That was fun.
That's our trip
And
together, the two of us.
yeah, and then my second one's I think Hon concert. Yeah,
Oh, the Hon concert.
that was
Oh,
really
I
nice.
forced you to, oh, see, I forced you to go with me, but you liked it. See? Please remember that from now on. Like, if I force you to do something, you will enjoy it. Oh, me naman, my favorite memory, so this is probably your number three, is when we got our tattoo together.
Oh yeah,
Right?
of
Yeah.
course.
So I know we both wanted a tattoo, and we said we'll do it, and we booked the tattoo artist Mia, and we went there together. And Casey, your girlfriend, was like just accompanying us and documenting everything. Doing that with you was fun, and I think that's a milestone for us both, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
No,
So
I
yeah.
remember like yeah, I remember that. Uh, it was crazy for me because I was like so nervous, and then I asked mom, like, "Mom, can I ask you something?" She was like, "What na naman?" I was like, "Oh no, I should like, I think it's a no go because he's in a bad mood pa." So I was like, "You know what? I'll just ask whatever." So I was like, "Can I get a tattoo, please?" She was like, "What?" Actually, parang gusto ko rin eh.
You had designs like talking different design. As in the first one, for example lang, kunwari eagle. The second week, Mom, what if I just put all the names of my high school friends?
Hmm?
Huh?
I didn't say that.
No, I think no, I think it was the grave. Parang you wanted a tombstone. But at one point you wanted a tombstone tattoo. I'm like, no. And
Okay,
then the
no,
third,
wait. The context. It was a tombstone. The tombstone with skeletons drinking next to it. Okay, and it looked really cool. The design. They were wearing sunglasses and stuff. They were drinking. It looked really cool. And then I was sad on the tombstone. It's put our old address on it, Firefly Street, because me and my friends used to drink a lot in our old house. Don't make me look like I'm like some edgy
okay.
teenager who wants a
Okay,
tombstone,
sorry.
a
I
biker or
remembered.
something.
I thought it was the names, but tombstone with skeletons drinking. Oh my god. Okay. And then the third one, you wanted a what was that? An animal eh. It was an animal. I think
An Aries, the ram.
a ram because of your horoscope or your zodiac
Mm,
sign.
yeah.
A ram, but you wanted it cartoony. So it's like, okay, good thing we had the tattoo on the day, on that day, you wanted na the angel. So it was a good design by that time. I was so relieved. I was like, oh my God, like we went through so many
I just let mom.
permutations of it.
I just let mom decide what the tattoo was in the end, since she was the one that allowed me first, and you were getting it together. That's what I
Yeah.
wanted to remember also. And the design and everything was also on the spot. So
Yeah, and good thing Mia was really good too. So
yeah.
yeah, that was a good experience. So we're gonna get our second one soon, right?
Anime for me, anime tattoo.
Anime. He had Pikachu on his chest. A big Pikachu on his chest. Okay, so my last question. This one's the really last one. So, what advice would you give me as a mom, my 24-year-old mom, and the 40 plus? I almost said my age. The 40-plus-year-old mom. So, advice for me as a mom when I was young and less knowledgeable when I was raising you and Zach when you were babies, and the advice you would give me now as a mom.
So your 24-year-old self first, right?
Yes.
I'm not a mom, so this is pretty tough.
No, it's coming from you as a kid, as my son. So
Ah,
remember my life then was like I was frantic, like breastfeeding you and trying to do our best and working at the same time. And dad and I were just starting our family. So what advice would you give me then?
I think you just make sure that your kid has a happy childhood. I think that's what matters the most, right?
Mm, yeah.
I think make sure they're happy and confident in themselves. I would say you guys did this, but make sure that make sure that they get to do things that they they get to find things in an early age that they love, because you never know, like they could find something that they really love, and they'll do it when they'll start doing it as a kid, and they could say piano, right? Like kid really loves piano, he might be the next, I don't know, best piano player in the world or something. You know what I mean? So make sure
Yeah.
they find something that they love. Make sure that they become confident and happy. I feel like that'll be good, no? Especially since
Okay.
they're really young.
Yeah. Okay, so what advice would you give me now as your mom today?
So my advice would be, I would say I think if you keep yourself, I think if you keep yourself happy, you do the things that make you happy. Um, you keep yourself, you keep your mind healthy, you keep yourself healthy. I think that's the best way you can support and be around your family. Because if you give yourself that self care and that self love, it's only gonna bleed into the people around you, and it's gonna show. Like that positivity and all that stuff that comes from um, taking care of yourself and keeping yourself happy and stuff like that. Because if you, yeah, because obviously if you don't, you're just gonna be in a bad mood, cranky all the time, stuff like that. So if you keep yourself healthy, if you keep doing the stuff that keeps you happy, then just keeping everyone else in the house happy will be natural and effortless.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Cobes, for that. And so with that, we wrap up our episode of You the Mom with my son, Coby Villanueva. Yay! I hope you had fun, Cobes.
I did.
Yes, thank you. And we hope that you guys who are listening in enjoyed this true to life conversation between me and my son, Kobe. This is the first episode of our mom stories, real and authentic stories of motherhood. To wrap up, so we'd like to thank everyone again who listened in today. And just remember, mom life is something to be celebrated and cherished. And we believe that moms are also to be celebrated and cherished. So from us to you, we say, you the
You the
mom.
mom. Yay.